Hi everyone, it's Beth again with Live Good, Live Well. I want to cover accepting what we can't change and changing what we can't accept. This comes up for me this week personally because we are going through a few upcoming, usually celebratory but challenging things in the next year. We recently got engaged. And that is all happy news. And we both also want me to adopt Trevor so that he is legally protected and I have full decision-making ability as his mom, just as Tosca does. We've learned that the challenge of this is the laws aren't yet written for proper equality, as I'm sure we all well know. We just didn't know the depths of the still inequality. So we are going through that, and instead of planning things like the wedding of our dreams and a honeymoon, we're planning for things like paying for the adoption process and having to hire specialized attorney that covers these in Austin, traveling to Austin for the court date, whenever that is, paying for an attorney for Trevor that the court would appoint. I would have to get a full medical exam, FBI background checks, just a very invasive process for the protection of him, of course, but it just feels very, very daunting and intimidating almost to go through, maybe because we haven't been through it before, but my attitude is that it is what it is. We have the options, thankfully, that didn't exist 5 years ago. And so had we met then, we wouldn't have been able to do this at all. And so I am deeply grateful for this, that we even have the options that we do, however limited and strict and all of those things. And there's a few other details that are in there that are challenging as well. Nothing we can't overcome or work around probably, but until a couple of days ago, I didn't know this as a homosexual person living in the United States, and I can't expect that people that are considered other than us in the political us versus them spectrum would know it either. And so it goes into, I'll deviate a bit and talk about compassion and understanding, and we never know what other people are going through, what they're experiencing, what their history is, what their information feed is, and plus we're not each other. And so I think approaching people that are different than us with a sense of understanding and curiosity and compassion versus assumptive attitudes of, well, you believe this way and you follow this particular religious or political beliefs, and so you must hate me. And that's not at all true. The majority of people that I know are conservative, straight, usually married. Most of them are married. I've met most people in my professional career, and they're just. I'm the only one that looks like me that I see on a daily basis, and so it's very unfair if I were to assume that just because people might have voted differently than me or the same as me, but for different reasons, would be against me because they don't have the same legal needs as someone like me does at this point in time, because the laws have typically favored straight white Christians, and I'm only Caucasian. I'm not straight nor religious. And so, but for me to assume that because they voted however they voted, or they believe whatever they believe, that they don't like me, or they must hate me, or I must walk in fear out in life, is completely unfounded and untrue. Regardless of what we're fed on social media, it's completely propagated the word for propaganda spread about. And I just like approaching people with a smile and a hug and kind eyes and a good attitude of, how can I make friends with this person? What can I do good for this person? And I think when we remove that political lens from our mind and our attitude and our well-being, it just opens us up to a lot more love and acceptance and understanding and compassion. My own sister and brother-in-law don't talk to me because I'm a lesbian, and they disagree with my lifestyle choice, although my lifestyle is quite domesticated and quiet and respectful and healthy and all of these things. But anyway, that is a different topic that for another day, that I'm sure a lot of people can relate to as well for varying reasons. So going back to the topic of this, I accept what I can't change. Like, if I look at things is, can I do something about it or can I not? If I can, then let's go do it. Let's make a plan. Let's make a list. Let's take action. And if I cannot, then it's irrelevant to me, and I'm not going to fight a system that I just don't see it in my life path to go fight the legal system. I just don't. Again, I'm appreciative of the laws that have changed in our favor, with the understanding that they will continue to change either against our favor or for the better. Hopefully for the better, because it's an innocent child that we're ultimately talking about here. It's the reason why we want to get married. It's the reason why I want to adopt him, to give him the same protections as Tosca has for him. And I can't imagine what other families have gone through in the past before marriage was legalized in the U.S. for homosexual couples. And while it is scary because there's still the stigma out there, we're obviously fit parents. We both have his best interest at heart, and we want to do the best for him. And while it is scary to have someone come into your home to evaluate if you're a good parent or not, and how your relationship with him is, and for me to go through a medical exam and an FBI background check, like, those things are scary on paper because there's always the what if and why, and it's ultimately for his best interest, of course, but it's also quite invasive. And anyway, those are things that I have accepted because I'm not going to change them. It's not for me to change, I don't feel. It's for me to work within the boundaries of and do whatever the process requires. Again, for the betterment of him. And these things are, we haven't even talked about a honeymoon. We haven't talked about, our main focus is to go through the legal process, because marriage is a legal contract. It's not really all romantic and stuff. Like, that's when you're dating, and it is a part of marriage, but marriage itself is a legal contract to each other and the government that, you're legally bound. And again, mainly this is for the protection of our little one and ultimately for each other, to make medical decisions way in the future when the time comes. And, just to give everybody that sense of, like, this is us, this is our family, we share this, we have all of this together, and, we're not going anywhere. Not to say that is what makes a family, or, there are probably other protections that we would need to put in place if this doesn't go in our favor, or whatever the case is. There might be something that we don't know about or whatever. But anyway, the point of it is, I can't change it, so I've accepted it, and we'll move on. Another point that nobody probably ever wants to talk about is failure, big losses. I have recently, 2 years ago, I joined a real estate investing organization, and paid a significant amount of money to join that. And it's got a great network of people. It has training, education, networking meetings, just everything you could want to plug into as either an experienced or a new real estate investor. Subsequently made a couple of investments, and due to market reasons, timing, things mostly beyond our control, lost quite a bit of money. And several people have asked if that burned me, if it deterred me from doing any other investments in the future. And while it didn't, it puts a lot of caution in my mind. I'm sure at some point in the future I will make another investment, but definitely not right now. I've got to recoup my losses and pivot and go a different direction and go, do what makes sense on a much smaller scale for right now. And with that, I will be focusing more on coaching, on writing, on producing content, on sharing knowledge about our health and relationships and how to improve your life, how to get tattoos if you want, anything that people want to know about anything I can share. I would be happy to do a video on, a podcast on, write a blog on, write a series on, create a class on. I have a few classes in the works. Some of it covers adulting, and that comes from people my age. I'm 34, not knowing how to fully prepare a meal for themselves, not knowing how to go grocery shopping and cook themselves a meal, either for themselves, because a lot of people are kind of afraid of and think that you can't cook for one, when I find that quite easy. Get a chicken breast, get a baked potato or sweet potato, get a few veggies, saute them up, bada bing, bada boom. It's very easy in my opinion. Or you make a chicken pot pie, or there are so many things that you can do for one that are not just microwavable meals, because I've never done that in my life. How to sew a button on, how to buy a car, how to go car shopping, how to shop around for insurance, how to prepare a budget, how to keep a budget, how to maintain a workout routine, which I have not maintained, but it's one of my 2019 goals, as well as taking nootropics. So I take Catalyst Gold. I've had it for a while. I've taken it very intermittently, and I've been taking it daily for about a week now, off and on before that for a few days. And so one of my 2019 intentions and goals and plans is to take nootropics each day. And each month I will also have a challenge for myself. So December is 100 jumping jacks a day. January is going to be planks. I can't remember what I wrote down, a minute of planking a day or something like that. It's a lot harder than it sounds if you've not done it and if you're not in shape like I am not. And February will be probably 10 minutes on the row machine, or another body weight exercise that anybody can do that doesn't have a row machine. I got one for $130 or something at a secondhand sporting goods store, and I love having one at home. It's a great full body workout. It's cardio, it's strength, it's endurance, it's awesome. It works on your posture because you pretty much have to sit up straight. It's amazing. If you can find one of those, if you have the space for it, highly recommend it. It's my second one. I had one a few years ago, sold it. I got this one now that we have space again, and I love having one. And so that's deviated far from the topic of accepting versus doing something about something, but I digress. Other things I cannot accept are the weather. I cannot change is the weather. Today it's foggy, cloudy, overcast, and so I love that. I also love when it's sunny. I also love when it's hot. I love when it's cold. I love when it's rainy. I love when it's windy. I love when it's stormy. I love when it does anything, because hating it is quite miserable. If we walk outside and think, oh God, it's so hot today, I just hate this hotness. Like, the heat allows our body to sweat, which is like urinating or defecating or any other like form of elimination for us, and it just pulls out all these impurities. And that's what the summer is for, is to like cleanse and like be outside and be free and a bit lighter and happier and more active. In the winter, we don't sweat as much, and that's why people usually put on a little bit more weight in the winter, because we're eating heavier foods, we're inside more, we're cold, so we need that insulation. In the summer, we don't. When it's cold out, if you walk outside and go, God, I hate this cold, it's so cold and bitter, like, yeah, it is, but also, like, have you taken a deep breath, like a proper deep breath outside in the cold? It feels so invigorating and so exciting, and it's just like, it just gets you like alert. And I find that amazing too. When it's raining, like, that cleanses the air. It's so clear the next day after it rains, because everything is just washed away. It's like taking a shower, but for the earth. And I just think that is so amazing too. If it's windy, fresh air all around y'all. Like, it's windy a lot here, and it's not right now. I'm looking outside, it's kind of still, but when it's windy, that's awesome too. Even if it messes up your hair, which sometimes does. So we can't do anything about the weather. We shouldn't. It happens in its natural cycles and things, and so we should just learn to love it, whatever that is. And dressing for the weather is often, I'm really bad about it. If it's a little bit cold, I think, well, I'll be fine in this shirt. Meanwhile, I get outside into my car and I'm like, well, I should have got a jacket and gloves and a hat and a scarf and whatever. But anyway, I digress again. So, what can you accept in your life that you cannot change? What can you change in your life that you cannot accept? I would love to see your answers in the comments. I would love to hear about anything going on. Is it your diet? Is it a relationship? Is it where you live? Is it where you work? Is it where you go shopping? Do you shop at the dollar store and Walmart and think, man, if I could just go to Target or Whole Foods or all, like, somewhere else, my life would be so much easier. Can you do that? Can you make that change? Can you shop online? Can you order in meat that's grass-fed and grass-finished to get some better quality meat in your life? I don't think that meat is bad. I think the quality of the meat that most of us eat is bad. I saw an article yesterday about how someone had bought, I think, pig legs or something, some parts of a pig from Aldi, and there was pus that came out of it because it had like a cancerous growth or whatever. And don't do that. Like, the quality is worth the price increase. It's worth paying a few dollars more to get a much higher quality meat, because that's going in our body, right? Like, that's going in our body. It's feeding us. We are what we eat. And the energy of food, if we're eating a ton of processed foods and sugary stuff and, you know, just not good stuff, like not natural stuff, then what is that doing to us and our body and our mind and our, you know, our gut-brain connection, which is a whole different set of topics, and could talk at length about that. But if we're putting this into our body, what is it doing to us? No wonder we're sick as a nation, because we're eating the crappiest of foods. We shouldn't be eating animals that are sick. That would just make us sick. The romaine lettuce recall, like, that's because, like, the lettuce was getting not washed or washed with dirty water or something. Like, even lettuce isn't safe. And so how can you grow your own? How can you find a local farmer or rancher that grows these things that you want to eat? An hour from us is a dairy that produces raw milk. And they have a little shop that's open all the time, and it's on the honor system. You just go and get what you want and leave the money and write down like what you got. And it's amazing. If you've not read about the benefits of raw dairy, then go for that. People that have lactose intolerance can have raw dairy. It's actually full of nutrients, full of vitamins. The cows are happier. The cows are grass-fed generally, and it's better for everyone all around, starting from the cows. And happy cows, happy people. I'm not a big proponent of dairy in our diet, but we've also been consuming dairy for a very long time. And so I don't think that dairy is the problem. I think it's the quality of dairy that's the problem, just like meat. I think if we were the same as eating genetically modified vegetables and fruits, like it would be advertised as the fruit is bad, like strawberries are bad, that could be a headline, but it would be the quality of the strawberries and the genetic modification of the strawberries to include herbicides and pesticides, not the actual strawberry itself if it were left in its natural and organic state. So keep in mind what you can control within your diet and consumption. Also, your mind food. What's feeding your brain? What are you reading on social media? Can you change what you're seeing, or do you have to accept what is? In my experience, we can change everything that we're seeing. You can unsubscribe and unfollow and unfriend and block on Facebook. You can do the same on Instagram. If you don't want to see something, if you don't want to see sports stuff, to use a very kind of common topic there, unfollow it all. Unfollow it and go follow something else. Go follow astrology pages or crocheting pages or just people. Get off it altogether. Like, feed your mind something that's good and not negative. Feed your mind what is going to make you think and what's going to make you feel good and smile and happy. If it just needs to be cat photos, then go look at cat photos for a while. If you want to learn about something, search and learn. Search, like, if you want to learn about fringe science, I'm sure there are pages and groups for that. Go follow those and find those people and find those pages and have at it. Like, if you want to learn about biohacking, like, just search biohacking and tons of stuff will come up and you can learn about all of that. If you want to learn about life hacking or how to fix your car, like, there's so much information at our fingertips. We don't have to see the negative stuff. So that is something that is absolutely within our range of control and ability to change. Yeah? All right. This is Beth with Live Good, Live Well. Thank you for watching. If you found anything valuable in this, please share and subscribe. We'll be posting more content in the future, and I appreciate your stopping by. Cheers.